Let me now bring on board Mr. Pramod Dev, Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer with CERC. Mr. Dev, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Dev, will the pass-through for the power projects which have turned unfeasible will be allowed? And have you received any formal communication from the Power Ministry on this?
Well, the reference you are talking about, I don't know whether it exists or not, because we have not received any such communication from Ministry of Power. All the media reports suggest there is such a letter coming, but we have not received any letter till now.
Mr. Dev, but sources indicate that the ministry in turn is looking at CERC to suggest certain measures for bailing out power projects in limbo. How do you think this can be done? Does CERC have the power, or the SEB and power producer both need to agree for this?
Well, strictly speaking, when you have a competitive bidding, each bidder had the option, no, that how much cost he will be having for the pass-through. And since the bids have been finalized, under that the regulator has a very limited role. We have to just see that the guidelines of Government of India were followed or not in that bidding process and adopt that tariff. But as you yourself have suggested, the distribution companies and the seller of that electricity, if they come to us for adjudication, that is, adjudication power is something which is there with the central regulator. But if for that somebody will have to file a petition, then only we can say that whether anything can be done or not, no? And what are the reasons given, whether they are agreeable to that or not. It will depend upon that.
Mr. Dev, reports also suggest that CERC wants tighter norms for power trading licenses. Why, and what's the rationale behind it?
See, what has happened is that we have a different license categories, and those license categories are based on the volume traded, and that we look at the net worth and give them the category 1 license, category 2 license, and that is essentially to safeguard the interest of the sellers and buyers, that they must have that much net worth to take care of this transaction. So what we are doing is that we have an interstate trading licenses. Now they also do intrastate trading, and for intrastate trading they don't require a separate license, because interstate trading license includes that. So what we are asking them is to tell us the volume that they are trading within states, so that we will know how much volume they are handling. We are not interested in knowing at what price they are buying electricity, what price they are selling, and what is their trading margin in those intrastate transactions. That is something which falls within the purview of State Regulatory Commission. So we want to protect buyers and sellers. That's why we are asking for that. Second area is that for any infringement, today there is only one penalty that will lead to cancellation of license. So what we have done is that we have graded these penalties and tried to have an equation, no? That what will be the penalty for level of infringement. So this is the second major thing is in that draft regulations.
Mr. Dev, is CERC mulling higher tariffs for hydro projects to meet peak hour demand as well? And can you tell us the rationale behind that, if at all?
You see, we had already recommended to central government that we should promote peaking power, because what happens is that today we are a power short country, and particularly especially in the peak hours you will find in the evening, then there is always a shortage of electricity. Now if you have a peaking power plant, they will be run only during those peaking hours and they meet the requirement. Although the cost of the electricity will be high, this also gives a very clear signal to consumers that this time the electricity is expensive, and if you want to use that, then you have to pay higher cost. So that means we need to have this peaking power plant, which is also good for the overall power system. So that's why we have proposed in our regulation that all hydro power plants which have storage, because the storage hydro station can be used to immediately ramp up capacity, and also you can have what you call as the pump storage. So at night time when the electricity is available and is cheap, water can be pumped into these storage and at higher level, and it can be released to meet this peaking requirement. And for that we have proposed a 1% higher return on equity, because today's return on equity is 15.5% pre-tax, so it will be 1% higher, and that will take care of the risk involved in setting up such projects, because all these hydro projects have, because of the geological surprises, long gestation period, the risk involved, so we want to mitigate that risk by this 1% higher return on equity.